Hi guys, George here. So I got my coffee ready and a few pistachios as a snack in case the sugar goes low. And what I'm going to bring to you today is a live replay. uh, Well, not a live replay, but a play-by-play action report of scenario O20 Charnwood, which takes place in Cannes. And this scenario was featured in the latest Spec Ops magazine. I kind of looked at it. I was interested by it because it involves the Canadians versus the Germans. And we all know what kind of a meat grinder the Battle of Cannes is. Now, I cannot do justice in a short video with respect to the Battle of Cannes. It would probably take a couple of hours to go through that particular mess. But ultimately, due to the numbers and logistics, I think the Allies prevailed. They did prevail, but not before. They took an immense amount of casualties, in part due to the superior German armor. I thought I saw a documentary at one point that, speaking of German armor, essentially what the German tanker said was that the only reason why the Germans lost was because they ran out of ammunition and fuel. To what extent that is true, that's up for, you know, uh, historians that are more professional in their field than I am. I consider myself an amateur historian, so I can't do justice to Khan, but I certainly can try and do justice to this wonderful scenario. Um, in this respect, I'm going to shut off my video capture and turn off my face so you can focus on the map. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay, successfully turned off my camera. So there's a couple of special rules here. In particular, what's interesting is that we're going to rubble the map. And then the other interesting item here is that the Canadians receive one module of 100 OBA. Now, the reason why I put the special rules here is because when you're playing the scenario, you want a quick reference. And I guess when you're playing live, you're quickly looking at the scenario card, looking at it and whatnot. But it would be, if you are playing live, what I suggest is you get a cue card and rewrite those scenario rules, because writing them will help you remember them. And you can also have that quick reference card um, handy in your hand so you can check them out and say, okay, here's the special rule that's in play here. The other thing that um, can arise is that a special rule can prohibit the movement of tanks. For example, a scenario card that we're playing now there is a special rule that modifies the road movement rate to a minimum of one movement point. So that's pretty important uh, in arriving to a victory. And if your opponent conveniently forgets about that rule, this is a game about movement, as you'll see. And if that doesn't happen, you can lose. The other thing that I like to have handy are the victory conditions, because lo and behold, when the action starts and the stress, and you start stressing out, your memory is going to go faulty and you're going to forget that, look at here, these are victory locations. And this is a bit of an intricate, I wouldn't say complicated, but an intricate victory condition, because it includes an or statement. And maybe I should have bolded the or. Let's focus in on that victory location. Uh, well, let's see if I can. Oh, there it is. There it is. You guys can see it. I can see it. Let's move in a little bit more. Victory conditions. The Canadians win a game end either by controlling building P5, and P5 is here, and so there's an and an or statement, and greater than equal to 2 of the buildings in Q9, R2, R4, or controlling buildings Q9, R2, and R4. So that's pretty interesting, right? And you have to remember that. I guess the only way of being able to remember that is by having quick reference. Now, I played actually the Canadians, I'm about to say British, but they're actually Canadians, because the Germans are on the defense. So it's easier to have an AI bot play defense, whether you're using an algorithm or whether you're using a computer simulation. Being on the defensive side is a lot easier than uh, programming something for the uh, attacker. Now, if you are playing the attacker solo without any computer assistance, any algorithm, I would say just play to the best of your ability. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and jump forward to the a moment where I've set up everybody uh, to go on board. And what I've done is I've done the reverse of what the scenario card stipulates. Because I want to challenge myself as the Canadian player. And by the way, these are the elements that are beginning, that are taking place. So it's the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, the 8th Infantry Brigade, the 3rd Canada Infantry Division, and of the 3rd Canada Infantry Division, I suppose, and the Fort Garry Horse, 2nd Canadian Armored Brigade. And I tried to find their division patches. And of course, this is the SS Panzer Division 12, Hitler Jugend. That was their division patch. Now, like I said before, I'm going to jump ahead and bring you my initial setup. And as I said before, I'm playing the Canadians. I'm going to set up the Canadians first to challenge myself and give the defender, which I'm playing against, a bit of an advantage. Okay. So part of the SSRs is that each player alternatively takes a turn placing rubble counters, and then you roll a 1d6, and and then that rubble travels to an adjacent hex, I guess using the sniper counter as a direction finder. Now, what I did not understand, and I may have played this incorrectly, is that does the initial counter stay in place, and then you put a second counter around the 6-hex circle or the 7-hex circle adjacent to the initial counter? So I played it as if the counter will travel to a random direction from the initial placement hex. Now, as a German player, I tried to place a rubble uh, first and foremost here and there because they're two-level locations, and I wanted to deny somebody, the observer, an observation post. And then I placed rubble here and there to to rubble the street and prevent movement through that particular road hex. So I would impede the armor. And in this case here, I try to place rubble in locations where, and you're not allowed placing rubble in victory locations. So in locations where I would impede their ability to defend. But as we all know, rubble is one of the best positions from where you can defend. So it was a bit challenging to pick the right location for the Canadians. Just going forward here, so you can see how it unfolded. The rubble placement unfolded. There you go. And now I am setting up the Canadians, and I was a bit indecisive as to how I should set up my armor. Knowing that on board there's a 75 AT gun, I believe that's a Pack 40 or 41, and a Stug that, as per SSR, can be used similar to an AT gun, setting up with hip and concealment. So I knew in this case that for the Canadians, what would happen, or what I needed to do, was to make effective use of my infantry and my armor and try to flush out where the Germans, and especially the important anti-tank weapons, before my armor got to them. And the basic tenet here was that the armor keeps its distance. Now, what is this little counter here? Right there. Let's focus in on the map a little bit. Okay, so what this is essentially is that by SSR there is a pre-registered hex, which I pretty much facilitates the emergence of an FFE, and that's as per Rule Bravo 2511. So it facilitates um, the coming of the arrival of an FFE as opposed to going through spotting around and artillery quest, blah, blah, blah. And what I did here is instead of picking a hex, and I had to pick a hex prior to the German setup and prior to setup, what I did was is I said I'm going to roll a 1d6, and 1 to 2, the pre-registered hex will be S9, 3 to 4 will be Tango 6, 5 to 6 will be Victor 3. So again, I'm giving myself a handicap, trying to give more weight to the German defender because, let's face it, you will eventually find out where the Germans are, and they have 6 dummy counters. So in the real game, when you're playing against a live opponent, you won't know where anybody is. Um, so again, that's a bit of a handicap. Now I'm going to set up the Germans, and I'm going to show you the method I did that to handicap myself even further, okay? Okay, guys, so as you can see, what I've done here is I separated or grouped the forces according to different fire groups. I have fire group A to H and Alpha and Bravo for my ordnance. Essentially what I did here was I picked 3 locations where they could best set up, and I would determine by a type of random selection where each one would go. So for example, group little A uh, has Lieutenant Fauch, an LMG, and a German 658 multi-man counter. I picked 3 locations. If I rolled a 1d6 and I got a 1 and 2, he would go into Victor 2, a 3 to 4, Uniform 5, 5 to 6, Tango 7. So all these units here would go into possibly 3 different hexes. And then as for uh, the the dummy counters, they remain dummies, and if a person if their identity is challenged, I roll a 1d6, and if I roll a 1 or a 2, they are replaced. Now I have to find out a better algorithm as to how to deal with dummy counters, especially for the attacker, uh, but it's suitable. And let's just move forward here, and I made um, a similar random selection counter for the Stug and the AT gun. And here for the Stug, I said 1 to 2, I'll place them in Papa 3, 3 to 4, Quebec 10, and 5 to 6, Tango 6, which is essentially what I think is I'm saying here is P3 would be here, Q10 would be uh, there, and Tango 6 would be here. Essentially, what I'm saying here is in most cases, um, you'll be, you being the opponent, you have to come to me, and so I can get the first shot on you. I won't come to you, which is an effective way of using armor, I find. But let's see. So I start rolling, and start placing everybody in their proper location. And I think ideally everybody here should have, well, everybody starts on board, so you just kind of do a, I think at that point you cannot dispute any counters that are in concealment terrain, but any units that do not have a concealment counter may attain concealment if they're not in LOS to a good order unit. So this is all pre-game stuff. Let's go back to the you can see, I think you can see the board rather well. Let's zoom out. Here you go. All right, moving along. So we start the rally phase. There's no weather. And we go straight to movement, remarkably enough. So this is the Allied turn 1 movement phase. And again, you notice that I was really indecisive about the armor, right? And the reason why was, hey, look at all the rubble on this map. And if the situation was that the original rubble marker stays and another one is generated around the original rubble marker, that would be, almost insane. But we did everything to the best of our ability. And here, in particular, I had to reread the rules with respect to narrow streets, which is Bravo 31.1. So there are movement restrictions and turret covered arcs change, but in this case the Shermans have a star type weapon. So with respect to changing their turret covered arc, I don't think that there is that much of a restriction. So turret covered arc change, a vehicle with a main, that's Bravo 31.122. A vehicle with a main caliber size of greater than or equal to 50 millimeters attempting to change its turret covered arc relative to its vehicular covered arc while on a narrow street must take a final TCA change dr small d small r of less than or equal to 3. See also 31.121. A maximum of 2 such DRs per vehicle may be made per phase. In its movement phase, each failed TCA change costs the vehicle 2 movement points only. Only following cumulative DRM can apply. So you have a -1 if you have a star type barrel length. And then there is an additional rule for vehicular covered arc change in narrow streets, which is quite lengthy. Well, not that much, it's just a paragraph. But check this out. Target size vehicle may expend half of its printed movement point allotment to change its vehicular covered arc 180 degrees while on a narrow street. No other vehicle type may change its vehicular covered arc, nor may the vehicle change its vehicular covered arc as part of a motion attempt while on a narrow street. So I'm not too sure if I did the movement through these narrow streets correctly, but it took me a heck of a long time to move my Shermans through this narrow passageway instead of going around and trying to find another way around into the village. Luckily, I set this guy up here. All right, moving along. Not too sure if I did that correctly. Well, this fellow's here movement here was actually a better idea, I think. Yeah. Anywho, and then I changed my mind and I tried to go that way. So here we're firing a range of 4, area target type, and we checked line of sight from W2 to AA2. W2 here to AA2. Here. No, there. Okay. For a hit. Yeah. It's a 12 firepower attack, I suppose. Actually, we're using inherent firepower, 6 firepower factors. Alright. Scored a morale check. Scored something really badly. 7 and 10. Jeez, this unit broke some of these folks here within its inherent firepower alone. Also, we decided to open up with the AT gun. And we got a little spotter up there, Lieutenant Barlow with a radio. We decided to intensify, so that was from S7 to Zebra 3, right up there, and we calculated that as 7 infantry target type due to the range to hit plus 310 was a 40 hit. We scored a 7. Second shot, intensive fire, 7 infantry target type base to hit plus 310 minus 1 AC and plus 2 for intensive fire, and we rolled an 8. So now we have a minus 2 AC on that fellow up there. Broomer is firing up there as well. So Victor 3 to Zebra 3. We're trying to knock this guy out. And that was an 8 up 2 shot. Rolled a 6. Let's see if we can get you to see the dice rolls here. That would be better. So sorry for any technical difficulties up there in the beginning. And we're rolling, we're fighting here. German defensive fire here. We rolled a morale check, a normal morale check. Broomer scored a normal morale check, and good old Barlow, he passed. So we're rolling to route face, cleaning up the board. These guys route back, and they were turned back by a lonely 658 squad. There they go. One unit routes. The other unit was TI. He was pinned, actually. So here's the advance phase. Plenty of areas to move up. Hey, we got the mortar in the woods, so they can start pouncing on these positions. We kept the armor really in the rear. And the reason why we kept the armor in the rear is look who's hiding. And these guys also have Panzerfausts that they can opt for. So we just finished Canadian turn 1. We're on to the German turn. Weather, nothing. We tried to rally this guy. Is he under a leader? Yeah. Okay. He doesn't rally. He rolled an 8. He needed something like a 4, but didn't get it. DM comes off. So we actually are prep firing with the Germans at the moment. So Sierra 7 is targeting Zebra 3, 7 infantry, target type base due to the range, -2 act, +3 tem, right? And we actually rolled a 7, I think. If we switch that to there, is the dice going to come up there? So we missed and did not get rate. Is that true? Yeah, that rate of fire is only 2. Okay. There you go. Now you should be able to see the dice twofold. All right. So now we're firing from Victor 2, Z2, maybe V3 to V3 to, no, W2 to Z2? Got that mixed up. Missed no right. Anywho, it was, yeah, we'll figure it out. Let's take a look. We actually scored a 1 MC on the leader. So I believe it was from here to there. And we rolled a 6. Yeah, from here to there. Pardon my dyslexia. On the leader, trying to take him out. And nothing happened there. 658. He's actually going to fire at point blank fire at 6 up 3, I believe. Right there. X-ray 8 to Yankee 8. 6 up 3. Let's see what that rolled. That miss. He prep fired. Rolling on the 2 hit again. W2, yes. W2 to Zebra 1 here. So we were rolling a 2 hit of 7 to hit plus 3 tem. Makes it a 4. We're taking backblast. I think that broke him. Okay, it was inherent firepower. I think I regretted trying to use the. No, there wasn't any backblast. There wasn't any backblast. We missed the shot. That's what happened. Then we tried to fire with inherent firepower and rolled a 10 against this guy. Yep, against that guy. So that was completely ineffective. Moving the armor up, I guess to cover this direction, this little flank here. Now this fellow went back to cover this road here and prevent the tank relief. Double enforcing this location here. Now it's the Canadian defensive fire phase, so the first action that we do is the artillery. We rolled for radio contact, we got a 4, we needed an 8, so that's okay. Radio's good, then we go for axis and draw a card. Well, we don't need to draw a card, I think, with a pre-registered hex. Now we roll a 1d6 to see where is the pre-registered hex, and it's actually here. Actually V5. Anyway, I must have changed my mind on that one. So now we got a spotting round there. We got a spotting round there. We did not actually put the spotting round on the pre-registered hex because it was unknown for us. It was a handicap, so we don't favor the Canadians outright. All right, let's go on. Z3 to V3 second level 8 plus 3. Oh, they're second level. Yeah, these guys are second level. These guys are second level. These guys are first level, but they can fire up and shoot at him. 8 up 3. We rolled a 8 on the 8. Normal morale check. Leader passes. The other dude passes as well. His morale is 8. With a -1 leadership DRM, that makes it 9. He unconceals. He's going to fire at the AT gun. Rolls a 4. He has rate. And he was going for smoke. Oh well. And he does have smoke. These guys have smoke. If you don't believe me, check it out. Right click info, smoke 7, and IR illuminating round 2 as of I guess 1942 and on. Wow. Let's hide the show info. All right. Firing back at the fellow with the Panzerschreck. With all due respect to the Germans, this guy would have probably been better off coming into here and trying to take out that Sherman instead of waiting for the tank to come to him. Yeah, he would suffer a +2 attack on for being in a +2 to his to hit for being in a building, but this thing is a large target, so he would benefit from a +1 or a -1 DRM to his to hit shot. It would have been an easy hit. So in hindsight, it might have been best to put uh, the Panzerschrecks, but I kind of did that in an area where they could easily hit any approaching tanks right off the bat. But now we're continuing to fire, advancing fire there. And we're already on turn 2, Allied turn 2. We rolled for weather, not on that respect. Rally BB1 needs an 8 or less, and we rolled a 10. It would actually take some time before anything could happen. We rolled a 6 for radio contact, so we have radio contact. We're rolling a 3 on the IFT, so that's somehow we turned it into an FFE1. We're rolling around the perimeter to see what is going to happen, and I think I ended up really rubbling this hex, but not putting it in flame. I was consulting the rules like you wouldn't believe. The rules I consulted was Bravo 2411 and Bravo 2513, but the actual IFT chart, either the one issued by MMP or the back of the concise rulebook has notes as to what kind of OBA causes flames and rubbles and what kind of rule you need to do that. So with OBA, you can also reduce the strength of minefields as well. So sand checks do not count when doing a OBA. And ultimately, I put a rubble there and broke the crew of that AT gun. So he's in smoke. He's unable to use the AT gun, but this fellow here is covering any thought of German Canadian armor approaching from this flank here. All right, moving along. Corporal Curious forms a fire group with Zebra 1, and AA2, 2W2 here, 16 IFT up 1. This is prep fire? Yeah. All right. trying to take out that fellow, and I believe we rolled uh, snakes. Now, these boys, the first line British, Canadian forces, they don't cower. So that's a heck of a shot. Half squad, and I believe the other dude is broken. Oh, he had a 3 morale check. So it was a K slash 3. Needs a 5. We rolled 8. He's more or less out of the fight for now. That was a good shot. Hey, rolled a 12. Boxcars. Z3 to V3. The base level here, I believe, to second floor there. Rolled a 12, but we weren't using any support weapons. Can't use a Piat against that fellow up there. Oh, that gives me the opportunity to move up the um, Sherman. Here, I should have rolled for replacement, but I'm not sure if I did or I didn't. Oops. Now we're into the Allied turn 2 movement phase, trying to move up more. Folks, he got caught in bypass in open ground. Six down 1. That was an assault move. He rolled an 8. Get myself a heat of battle. That's a half squad. It's not a crew, so it's subject to heat of battle. So what happened there? -1 for the British. Roll a 6. Guess what happens? We get a battle hardening and a hero. There goes Sergeant Turner. And this guy's now turned into a 248 elite. Fauch is firing at that concealed unit. It's an up 3, +1 for the hindrance in W5, -1 for the leadership to DRM. So it's not actually 12 IFT up 3, it's 6 because the dude is concealed. That's a typical error a lot of players make, and you have to be careful of it. Yeah. Actually, 6 IFT. See, I caught my error in the log. Let me show you the log right there. Actually, 6 IFT because the target is concealed. Net 9 on the 6 table. Miss. Light machine gun got rate. 1 up 3 sniper bait. F for forget to move AFE. Meaning these guys. I'm already turned it to defensive fire. Advancing fire. So we're just rolling there for acquisition. Had a sip of a coffee there. And we're routing units again. Units that broke. Well, this guy could not have stayed in open ground, so he routed back. Did he have to route back all the way there? Well, yeah, when he rallies, he'll take up position here or reinforce that flank, depending on where the armor is going. And don't forget, the squads here can opt to search for a Panzerfaust and knock out this dude here. Everybody else is advancing. We have a close combat in there. So close combat in this case, I believe in this case the Canadians get I granted them Canadians a -1 to their ambush roll and -2 for each concealment units there. So there was no ambush in any case. So there was a 6 and a 5. There's a choice not to attack and force the attackers to fire upon him using half firepower. So if the German player stays concealed, we have their 9 to 6, which would be Ordinarily, if everybody's not concealed, it would be a 3-2 attack. But if the German player remains concealed and does not attack the Canadians, then the Canadians will have a 5-6 or a 1-2 attack. Yeah, and then subsequently, if there is a melee situation, then the other 658 can reinforce this melee hex and probably knock out everybody. So we'll see how that unfolds in a couple of seconds. So we opted not to attack the Canadian force. So the Canadians are going to be attacking 1-2 -1 leadership DRM to so in a subsequent turn the Germans can reinforce that melee. All right, so let's see how that unfolds. Canadian rolls a 1-2 -1. We rolled a 4, a 3. So we got him, but he's unconcealed now. We got him. Did we get him? Oh, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. So we're in German rally phase. Rolled for weather. There wasn't any. We attempted a self rally, I believe, down there. Uh, no, in Tango 3, right there. And we rolled a 10 actually. So that guy gets his DM removed, but he's still far from back into the fight. This thing here, Romeo 7, is a self rally, needs a 4, I suppose. Yeah, and rolled another 10. Nada. So nobody rallies, but they shed their DM status. And we're going to prep fire. Broomer's trying to fire on Turner. Gets a normal morale check. Everybody passes. Fauci is rolling against W6. It's a concealed stack. And what do we get? An 11. Rolled an 11. 6 IFT. Leader directed, so it's up 3. Nothing there. Now, the Stug opens up. So he did come to a good and valid position because good old Lore conveniently forgot about this dude. So let's take a look and see what happens. It was 8 IFT, infantry target type, +1 for buttoned up, +3 for time. It was a 4 to hit. We rolled a 5. And missed, no rate. Should we try intensifier? Why not? We did. So 8 infantry target type, +1 for buttoned up, -1 for the act, and +3 for TEM, and +2 for intensifier. So that would be a net up 5. So that would have been a 3 to hit, so we missed. So Tango 5, Tango 7 is S7. Tango 5? There's nothing there. Oh, we're trying to resolve I guess the IFE. There's no potential causing any shell holes in this case. So everything was rather ineffective, and we lost radio contact. We rolled for the IFE before radio contact, but at this point the troops are too close to comfort to the artillery rounds in order to put it down, and it causes a hindrance as well. So to the loss. So radio rolling on the 2 hit there. Nothing's happening. We rolled a 2 up 3. Scored a toss check. Nothing happening there either. So I guess the 2 at 3 was the machine guns. I thought this guy was concealed, but it should have been higher than that. Oh well. The sand check was ineffective. X1 to V3. X1. X1 to V3. To hit, we rolled a 9. That ain't going to do it. So we have a little mortar or lobbing mortar shells at that fool up there. So as you can see, a 2 to V3. That is at least a 12. 12 up 3. Rolled a lot. Missed by 1. Should have had a leader up there. Alright, 4 up 3. Miss exchange with real MMC. Oh yes, because this fellow here, we can exchange it for an actual squad, but it turned out not to be the case. Alright. W6 to Victor 4. W6 to Victor 4. We're firing back, and we're opening up. Trying to open up here. Rolled a high number. So now we have a fire group. Fire group is X5, Y5, and Zebra 4. 2V4 using LMG for a rate. That comes up to 16, up something, up 4 actually. Let's see what happens there. Ooh, rolled a 3, activated sand check, 2 morale check, no rate, and axis sand. Need 7 or less. Fellow pins, leader pins. So the squad needs 6 or less, twice. Break and pin. Let's see is that what we did? Look at that. That's exactly what we did. That's a bummer. Zebra 3 to Victor 3. Firing the second level again. Yeah, firing the second level. Let's see what happens. Forgot the sand. Ooh, there was a big bad SAM. Yeah. Direction and distance. Yeah, that fire group's fire was ineffective in any case. So look at all the firepower that's been brought to bear against the German player. That's a lot of stuff. So we're routing. We're routing like there's no tomorrow. Jeez. More close combat. So the 658 decided to go into close combat here. There was no ambush. And again, the Canadians just took him out and scored infiltration. Good old Bobby Orr scored snake eyes. Coffee time. Coffee's cold, but it tastes great. Nescafe. So we're on to German turn 2, I believe, here. Trying to rally to the troops and get them back into the fight. Actually, it's Allied turn 4. And things are going well for the Canadians, remarkably well. Except right now, we just called the prep fire on our own tank, and it would linger there for quite a while and also impeding his line of sight. Otherwise, the Canadians are making remarkable progress, and we decided to make a mad dash for the victory objectives, practically encircling and breaking in half this part of the board to that part of the board. Now we've made an audacious move. I'm not too sure that I did the movement down this narrow road correctly. That being a large target, um, in changing a vehicular covered arc that quickly, but still they were pretty much out of the fight because there's no really clear path to get them out there without using some form of bypass. I suppose setting them up here and bringing them through here would have been less controversial than what I just did here, but pretty much they were out of the game until the last couple of turns, and even then, they didn't do a lot of firing. Oh, was there anything restricting them being set up in buildings? Oh, I didn't note anything to that effect. I would have to review the scenario card to make sure. All right. So in player four, the Canadians have advanced immensely, and most of the German OB is out of the fight. We did get a fanatic unit up here. Um, this fellow here is really doing a number on Mr. Orr here. Mr. Orr, he just wants to go back home and become an English teacher and go back to his regular teaching studies. So we're retreating here from the wrath of the Stug. Up here we entered into close combat. Well. We have a 3-2 and -1 and a 1-2 +1 for being CX. And the rolls are 8 and 4. Nearly got the leader. Okay. So the results of the last turn were the Canadians managed to advance immensely. The Stug did manage to run a high-level leader here, but we are really up close and personal with the SS and taking them out. Uh, Moving along, it's German turn 4. And now we have all sorts of ways to bear a lot of trouble on the Germans, and we're canceling the artillery mission there. At this moment, the distance between the Axis and the Canadians is far too small, and we risk hurting our own troops with 100 millimeter. Ain't worth it. So that's that. But we did try and land it there. And it's kind of out of play, more or less. So we're already in turn 4, or allied turn 4. At this point, given the limited amount of troops on the German side, there's not much they can do. This is how it looks. We managed to rout one unit. We're reinforcing that melee with a hero and another squad. We're changing the tide here immensely. And we're moving up close and personal to the last couple of uh, remaining German squads, multi-man counters. We took out a lot of German leaders. We got a melee going on there. So let's see how that unfolds. Canadians have a 3-2 -1 for the hero. Rolled a 5. The Germans have a 1-2 -1 for their hero. And what did the Germans roll? A 7. That ain't going to cut it. So got him, right? 3-2 with 3-2 odds. I need a 6. And a Canadian rolled a 5 -1 is a 4. So clearly everybody is wiped out. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, the last German leader on the board. And one less squad to worry about, and a shiny new LMG for the Canadian player. So from this point on, uh, if I was actually playing a live player, I would say that the German player would have thrown in the towel, knowing that he doesn't have any more leaders. We took our time to acquire an AT gun, a Pack 40, and turn it around, but also to keep this guy from coming on board. The Canadian armor can easily just bypass this location and start killing off these guys. So, hey, at least the Germans did manage to bear the brunt of this guy's attack and rout him back. If you recall, this guy somehow became fanatic on his way here, or elite, battle hardened, and now, uh, and now he is going out of the game. But still, it doesn't look too hopeful for the Germans at this point. So now we're trying to um, save the Stug. Called off the spotting round, started firing back at the Germans, trying to take out their last little stronghold up there, and consolidating our forces in this building to pounce on them here. So already we're in turn 5. We're trying to take out that little 658 that is holding off a nice wave of Canadians. This dude broke, and it gave that hero the opportunity to come face to face with these guys. He fought back a little bit valiantly, uh, managed to pin one unit, but this guy is broken. This guy's about to be jumped in close combat. Sure, he has a Panzerschreck. Oh, he already broke, never recovered. Okay, and this guy is probably the only unit left. This guy and the Stug. This guy, the squad. It's not a guy, it's a squad, George. Wake up and smell the coffee. We did do some cinnamon rolls this morning. Had a good breakfast. A scrambled egg with prosciutto and toast. Coffee with Charlie. Now, I'm not backing down. I am trying to eliminate this guy with failure to route. Now, this guy's eliminated, but this guy can route to there because he can't see this dude here. But it's looking pretty grim for the German player. And here I am advancing my tanks, consolidating my position, getting my PADs into position as well. And I think this is the German swan song right here, this player turn. And I think the pivotal moment was the close combat here, taking out that last leader. That was really something. At this juncture, I think the German player is losing all heart to continue. So I advanced these guys under these troops under the Sherman, gives them +1 protection. Okay, these guys are in close combat. Let's take it to that close combat, and then we can safely say that it's game over from that point on. So this close combat did not result in any ambush, uh, and it was 3-2 for the Canadians, -1, and Germans 1-1 versus a multi-man counter with guarding the single man counter. Um, so the Canadian player rolled a 3, eliminating the squad. The German player rolled a 7 in return and did not eliminate the Canadian squad that was attacking with the hero Brunswick. So that was pretty much it. That was when everything kind of ended and said, okay, uh, I don't think that we can continue any further. Now, um, was it a fair game for the Germans with me, the attacker, having some knowledge of where everybody stands? Um, Perhaps knowing that not being able to remove player bias entirely did favor the Germans, but I think what this exercise kind of proved is that it's possible for uh, the Canadians to win this game if first and foremost they are cautious in their initial advance, take out any Germans that are uh, holding a front line first and foremost. Um, be cautious with the use of your armor because you really do need them as support vehicles, I suppose. And it can be won by the Canadians, more or less. Now, I think the greatest uh, takeaway for the Germans in this game is one, do not forget the deployment. Two, uh, do not forget about the ability to muster a Panzerfaust with the regular infantry. So it's harder for a half squad to get a pass a Panzerfaust check than a full squad. So that's the other thing that you might pay attention to. And yeah, so the Panzerschreck as well is as important as the AT gun in this Stug in this case. Yeah, and I guess the other major takeaway that the Canadian player has to keep in the back of his mind is that AR in this game can be as effective against your opponent as it is could be against you. So be very cautious and prudent, and pick your location as to where you're going to put your spotter and where you're going to designate your artillery round. And keep in mind that the artillery round can rubble some buildings, and that may not play in your favor as well. So I spoke for an hour and 4 minutes. This video has exceeded uh, the time span for all of my previous videos, and normally I would break it up into parts, but I haven't. What I'm going to try and do is give you some timestamps and help you in that respect. Um, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, at this point, um, the channel in a matter of a couple of weeks went from 490 to as high as 511 and back to 508 subscribers. That's remarkable. And the other thing that I find remarkable is that given my small amount of subscribers, a great deal of them actually watch my video. So it's not like I have 10,000 subscribers and 1,000 only watch the videos. It's amazing how much of a great percentage I have of viewership week after week on this channel, and that uh, only deserves a great, sincere thank you to all the subscribers that are supporting this channel, and especially the tax folks that come here for tax knowledge and see tactical videos, tactical warfare videos. That I thank you too for being loyal um, and keeping this channel alive. So a great thanks to everyone. Um, if some folks unsubscribe because they don't like my views on the Ukraine, that's unfortunate. My position is that with war, it should be only used as a tool for peace, as a measure of last resort, not a primary resort. And and that's how I feel about it. And if someone doesn't agree, they're certainly entitled to their opinion. And I can understand if they feel frustrated with my views and unsubscribe. It's great. Be loyal to your beliefs and stay firm to your beliefs. That's all I can say. Apart from that, I wish you folks all a great weekend and a great week ahead. Take care and keep rolling low.